This is totally not Danzig, and you're listening to the Shred Shack.
Greetings, folks. I'm Dan Mack.
And this is Chris Mack.
Welcoming you to episode 125 of the Shred Shack podcast, your premier source of news and uninformed yet heavily biased opinions pertaining to all things heavy metal. Airing bi-weekly on iTunes, Mixcloud, Google Play, and iHeartRadio, as well as on YouTube at youtube.com/AdamantStemplum and youtube.com/The Shred Shack. I did that backwards.
You did.
Let's get started with old business.
I have old business.
Oh, yay.
All right. So, of course, we talked at pretty good length on the last podcast about the whole drama between Aerosmith and Joey Kramer, their drummer.
We did.
They're a strange drummer at the time. So, according to TMZ, Joey Kramer has been working with his Aerosmith bandmates, Steven Tyler, Joe Perry, Tom Hamilton, and Brad Whitford, the past several days to help him return to his spot on the drums. Sources tell TMZ that Joey has been practicing to get his skills back to where they were before his absence, and once Joey proves he's up to the task, the fellas will let him back in to start beating the skins again.
I feel like a person who's been at a craft for X amount of time and being told you're currently not good enough. Like, I feel like that would just be downright insulting.
Right?
Like, yeah, when you're a little bit better. It's like, I've been playing with you for like 30, 40, 50 fucking years. It's like, yeah, but we need you here, and you're currently here.
Yeah, it pretty much sounds exactly like what Black Sabbath did to Bill Ward.
Yeah.
That and the whole, unsignable contract thing is he claims. Mm-hmm. So, of course, their claim was that his physical health prevented him from doing these tours or whatever.
Yeah.
So, it sounds very, very reminiscent. Either way, it sounds very Spinal Tap.
Yeah.
With their revolving door of drummers and being very expendable.
Yeah. Well, I think last time we were waiting for the Grammys to happen, and
yes, I think they were happening that weekend.
And apparently, the show was a mess.
Apparently, the show was a mess. Well, it depends on which perspective you look from. Like from a rock perspective, apparently the Aerosmith show was a disaster. Mm-hmm. But if you look at it from a perspective of the show as a whole and what's popular in music, the show was very good. Apparently. Billie Eilish won
No, I meant just Aerosmith's performance.
Oh, Aerosmith, yeah, I heard that was an absolute disaster. That was a train wreck.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Everything else I didn't pay any attention to. So.
Well, I know that Tool won.
Uh-huh.
I think that comes up later on in our podcast here, but Tool did win for best metal performance. That was pretty cool, especially considering that the song that they won for is 15 minutes long. So. It's amazing that somebody actually sat there and listened to it for that long. Or they were just like, oh, that's a name I know.
I was going to say the stiff old farts listening to it fell asleep, woke up and went, okay, that wins.
But that is it for old business.
All right, so let's go on to new business. And with new business, we start talking about new album releases, of which... You didn't write any, but you were listening to one just a little while ago.
Well, the thing is, I just recently jumped ship to Spotify.
From Pandora?
Or just in general.
Okay.
I just in general. I wasn't so much against Spotify. Like I just didn't feel like paying for it, and I didn't know how the free service worked. So I randomly downloaded the app and I started listening to it. It was great. The app itself, the free version, of course, you have ads and stuff like that. The only thing that really bothered me about it was the fact that you can't listen to things in a row. Everything's in shuffle, which bothered the shit out of me. And there's a couple other limitations, of course. So I decided to go with Spotify Premium, which is the pay service. You get unlimited skips. You get no ads. Blah 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 blah. You can listen to albums in a row. So I started adding new releases to a 2020 playlist, and today's one that I was listening to when I walked in the door was the new Sepultura record, and that is actually really fucking good.
Yeah,
really good. I'm really enjoying it. I mean, I haven't really been into latter day Sepultura. I listened to maybe one or two albums in passing, but I really dig this one. There's a lot of really good stuff happening on this record, musically and vocally, that I'm very impressed with. I'm really looking forward to digging deeper into this one.
Yeah, 'cause I was going to say, you only got a passive listen for the most part.
Yeah.
But I ordered the album this morning, so I should be getting it tomorrow and hopefully get a listen to it. But we got a copy of it from Nuclear Blast as far as digital. So, Cat, I need you to not step on that.
Yeah, that I was just seeing Disaster.
Oh yeah, okay. Recording Disaster with our cats.
One of the other things. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go on.
I was going to say, I also listened to. There's a new EP out by Napalm Death. I listened to, I think, 2 songs from that. Very good. Not what I was expecting.
Really?
Yeah. It seems one of the songs, the newest single, was slowed down a little bit with their normal, grindcore pace, and Barney actually kind of has a little bit of melody to his vocals on this one. It's very good, though.
I need to hear it. So
yeah, you need to hear it. I liked it. I liked it a lot. So I think that's definitely worth a listen to. Or just to check out, just because, the evolution of a band that's been a stalwart in the fucking grindcore scene for so long.
Yeah,
is anything different might
scare people away.
Yeah, it's also, but it's just cause for discussion. So
yeah. So I have 2 to discuss. The first one is by a band called Zio. This is actually one that I kickstarted.
I was trying to find some of their information, and when I looked for them on Facebook or whatever, our Kickstarter thing came up for the podcast.
Yeah. So it was something that I kickstarted because of the involvement of Heather Finlay from Mostly Autumn, and she was on The Human Equation.
Yeah. Okay.
But the album is not unlike Ariana in the fact that it's all written by one guy, and he has other people play and sing on it. It's a concept album, kind of a mix of that, it's kind of a mix of prog rock, prog metal, and even kind of techno-ish in a way, electronic in a way, but very, very much like Flower Kings or what's the other one I'm thinking of? Like Spock's Beard.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
very,
yeah.
very, very progressive. And there are points where it does sound like they're hitting that 70s level of Kansas and whatnot, and then they'll pick up the heaviness and just nail you in the face.
Yeah.
So it's a very variable album. My only complaint at this point is the fact that it doesn't come with lyrics, so I have no idea what the fuck's going on. So they're singing about flowers, and I have no idea why. So it's a little jarring for me, in those cases. I like to be able to read along and know what's going on and everything. But musically, it's very interesting, very good. Obviously, the vocals are good. 4 different vocalists.
I was gonna say she's not the only vocalist, right?
No, there's 4 different ones. But I like, it's like I said, without reading the lyrics, it's kind of hard to sit there and figure out what's going on, who's necessarily singing what parts and so on and so forth.
Gotcha.
But on its own, it's a good album. So the other album I listened to came out the day that we did the last podcast, and that's the Marko Hietala album.
Oh, I listened to that too.
That is a fantastic album.
Yeah, it is.
Very much in the vein of Tarot, but I don't want to say watered down because that makes it sound bad. I just want to say that it's not the same. It kind of encompasses more Tarot than everything else that Marko has done in his career. The first song on the album, Stones, is a straight up Tarot song, straight up. But the rest of it kind of it works. It flexes his range, which is great because I love his voice. It's fantastic. He has a lot of great vibrato. It works a lot on the softer side of his voice, which doesn't get explored enough. Even with Nightwish, I feel like it's not explored enough. He has a much softer side to his voice, and this album does explore that a lot more. but he also shows off those big booming points, but not as many. Yeah, musically, it's got a little bit of everything, but it kind of hits more in the tarot section. I don't have a complaint about it. I think it's a really good record. I think it's like, considering that we're waiting for a new Nightwish, we're waiting for new stuff from his various projects. This is a good holdover for sure.
I'm curious to see, because we had the conversation on the last podcast. We were talking about Nightwish, where we felt, or at least Pat and I felt, that there was not enough Marko on the last Nightwish record. Mm-hmm. I wonder if he took like the time to record and release this record before the new Nightwish one, because he's also not as featured as much on the one that's coming out. Like the new single that came out just recently for Nightwish is called Noise. I listened to it today. All floor. Mm-hmm. All floor. There's no Marko on it whatsoever.
Wasn't it the same thing with Elan?
It was. And the funny thing about this particular single is I feel the same way I felt about Elan. Like, I wasn't crazy about Elan until I got the record. Mm-hmm. Hearing it in context with the record was a much different experience, and I feel the same exact way about this song.
Gotcha. I don't know. Sometimes when bands like Nightwish have like simple song titles, I get worried.
Yeah, I can see that. And plus, like the feel of it is very stale. Because it's like you've heard the song before. Yeah. It's the same kind of sound and stuff like that. And some people probably would have that complaint about Nightwish as a whole. Like, their last 3 records sound exactly the same, kind of blah, blah, blah. But again, for me, it's out of context of the rest of the record. Yeah. Especially because it's a double record. Yeah. So there's going to be a completely different feel throughout the whole fucking thing.
Yeah, that's going to be that second disc is going to be something else.
Yeah, I'm super excited because he's been kind of leading up to this. The keyboardist songwriter, he's been leading up to something like this for a long time now. Yeah. I mean, Dark Passion Play started off with a 13-minute track.
Imaginarium has a fucking movie.
Imaginarium has a movie. Fucking Endless Force was beautiful. The last track on that album was 23 minutes long. He's been leading up to this for a long time. So it's going to be interesting to see something like this finally come to fruition for that band. Yeah.
I wonder if they play it live. That'd be.
I mean, they played that 13-minute track from Dark Passion Play live. It was their opening track when I saw them live. Opening. So.
Right on. So then, what else have we been listening to?
Well, of course, I've been doing the Spotify thing, just randomly picking stuff out and stuff, which is great. Yeah. iPod has been on shuffle. Specifically, I made a playlist of the last time I updated my iPod of just the stuff that came out in 2019. So I've just been rotating a lot through all those releases, on shuffle.
Gotcha.
And that's pretty much it. I've been just enjoying listening to a lot of music now because it's just me in the house, and my routine is, wake up, eat, and do all this stuff, and I just have music on. Yeah. So I get a chance to listen to a lot of new stuff, a lot of old stuff now, and a lot of very varying stuff. So it's been very beneficial.
Gotcha.
What about you?
Well, we have the albums of the day.
I was going to say, do you have anything else outside of the albums of the day?
Well, yeah. Been listening to some Dylan as per usual because I've been trying to pick up the rest of his records for no reason at all. Just suddenly was like, I need all the rest of his shit like right now. One in particular is Bootleg Series Volume 9, which is going to be on the Album of the Day thing, which is a bunch of demos from 1962 to 1964. Which is, I've listened to half of that, and then Bootleg Series Volume 13, which was recorded live various places and times across the span of 79 to 81. Wow. So I've been listening to those two in particular, plus kind of sporadically going to some of the newer material where his voice just sounds like he's like,
dying.
Like he's just gargling acid. What else? Well, my album of the day for today, which I'll just get to right away. Why not? It's going to be Black Label Society, 1919 Eternal.
Oh wow!
So
that's a throwback.
Yeah. Well, I was going through like all the records that I have from him, from Black Label, and I'm like Mafia, Stronger Than Death. No, I go to an old goodie, 1919. So.
For me, I overplayed Sonic Brew and Stronger Than Death. Those are the first 2 records, and I overplayed those. Yeah. I don't think I listened to anything past that enough
Yeah.
Except for maybe hangover music. I really like hangover music.
That's actually one of the ones I don't have. I'm missing that, Blessed Hellride, and Grimmest Hits.
I don't think I have Grimmest Hits.
That's the new one. So
that's the newest one,
latest one, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't have Blessed Hellride, but everything else I have right now, and I'm like Mafia in particular. I really liked but was feeling for 1919 Eternal, and it was one of those things where like I pulled up and the song ended just as I turned off the car. I was like, yeah, I got timing.
I love that. That's great.
And aside from that, I've been kind of going through some of my my haul from Christmas. I know, like, it's now February. I got my Christmas haul very late, and so my Nuclear Blast, 50 plus CDs that I got as a gift from myself to myself for being such a good boy this year.
Yeah.
So the Accept album, Symphonic Terror, which is them playing at Wacken with an orchestra.
At Wacken?
At Wacken.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, they played at Wacken in 2017 with an orchestra. So they came out, played about 5-6 songs on their own. Then it was around the time that Wolf Hoffman released Headbanger Symphony.
Oh, okay.
So they came out and played half that album.
Wow.
And then Accept came back out, played about 10 tracks of
holy shit.
And they just did it all together.
That's badass.
Yeah.
That is a badass show.
Yeah, I actually it came with it's a 2 CD and a Blu-ray.
I was going to say, is there a DVD involved with that or something?
Yes.
You have to have that.
Yeah, there is. So I still have to go back and get to work on the DVDs. It's just that, like, during the week, like, the weekends are my time now to be productive, because of the fact that, like, I come home, like, I'm at work and I get super into things and I'm like, I gotta do this. And I get home and I'm like, fuck that shit, I'm going to bed. Yeah. So like, I'm just like, I get home at like 7-8 o'clock at night after leaving for work at like 7:30. So it's it's a long ass day. For me personally, I don't know. Some people can manage that kind of shit.
I was about to say, is like, I actually have a Fitbit now. I track my sleep a little bit, and I don't think in like the last couple of days I've had more than 4 hours of sleep at a time.
Yeah. I get plenty of sleep, so I get plenty of deep sleep. So I come home and I'm like, I'm fucking exhausted. I don't want to do a goddamn thing. So
no, I hear you though. I hear you.
So my weekends are the time where I get productive, and those are the times where I should be watching these things, but it's like I just don't, because like, I'm in the middle of doing other things. I'm editing videos. You
can't concentrate. Yeah. So, I mean, I get you. And
then when Sunday comes, I'm like, oh crap, work. And then I'm like, okay, so from 6 to 6:01, I'm gonna go de-stress and go to bed.
We got about 30 seconds.
Yeah. Boombox, you have 30 seconds to amuse me. And of course, I have to sit there and lay where my dog shit. So.
Damn it, Abby.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. So,
all right.
Let's go over the albums of the day.
Albums of the day. All right. So starting off from our last podcast.
Yep.
I listened to some Star One, Space Metal. Fucking love that record. It's always a go-to.
Good record.
If I have nothing else that I feel like listening to, I go to that record pretty much. Mm-hmm. And you listen to The Hunt by Grand Magus.
Yes. So a couple things, actually. One, Space Metal, phenomenal album. Star One is probably my favorite of all the side projects that Arian has done. Have you heard Victims of the Modern Age?
No.
Okay, you need to.
What's that?
It's the follow-up. It's the second album.
Oh.
Yeah, you need to get that.
Okay. Well, I have Spotify now, so once I'm done with that, I will search for that and get it.
Yes. The track, Digital Rain, it's about the Matrix.
Oh, I think I've heard this song.
I probably have.
And I might even have the record. Probably not.
Okay.
I don't know if I took that, if like that, during that whole hard drive dump I took from you or not. So.
Probably not, because it came out a little bit later.
Oh, then definitely not.
But two, Grand Magus, The Hunt, phenomenal record because it's Grand Magus. And now I have Wolf God to listen to.
Yes.
So I got to listen to that.
Yes, you do.
Grand Magus is actually one of those bands that, like, their sound is so simple and so good that I'm perfectly fine with them releasing the same thing over and over.
They're like the AC/DC of, like, Norse mythology metal.
Yeah. It's just it's just straight up good, groovy, like groovy rock and roll.
And it's fun to listen to.
Oh yeah,
they're so fucking fun.
Yeah, like it's just like it's hard to beat.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
Yeah. Another thing that I listen to actually, when Lindsay and I do road trips, we listen to 3 things in particular. And we did a road trip for the Royal Rumble, which is where we were not last Sunday, the Sunday before that, after the last podcast. So we listened to the Dr. Horrible soundtrack.
Right, I remember hearing about that, okay.
The Batman Brave and the Bold musical episode, which is also Neil Patrick Harris. So 2 things with Neil Patrick Harris for no reason. That's besides the fact that we got into this habit of doing it. And then there's always at least one Ayreon album. And this time around, it was Electric Castle.
Cool.
So it was one of those things that, like, get an earful of it before the live album comes out, because I pre-ordered the super special edition of it that cost me fucking $240.
Oh my God! How many mugs is Lindsay getting for that one? Jesus Christ!
Oh no, she lets me, when it comes to Ayreon, she knows, like, I'm gonna spend all the money.
Holy fuck!
But it comes in a wooden box.
Oh
it comes
my
with a vinyl copy of the album, a 5-disc yearbook, a DVD, Blu-ray, T-shirt, all this kind of shit.
All right, you're doing an unpacking video for this one, right?
I am.
I was gonna say you gotta do an unpacking video for that one.
I totally am, because I missed the chance to do it for the Electric Castle, the last Electric Castle one, because I bought the remastered version, like the special remastered version, and it's a pretty impressive box. So I was like, oh, I probably should have like filmed me opening this, but whatever. Next time. This is the next time.
This is the next time.
March, I think end of March is when it happens. So yeah, it's gonna be badass as fuck. Okay, go on.
All right, so next up we had I listened to Sons of Apollo, their new record 2020, and you listened to 7 Witches, Amped.
Yes, just out of the blue. Very good.
All right. Of course, we just talked about Bob Dylan, the Whitmark demos.
Yes, Whitmark demos.
The Whitmark demos, and I listened to The Gathering by Testament, a gift from Daniel.
The thing I like about the Whitmark demos, or some of the things that I like about demos in general, is like, you can kind of hear, you can hear the changes that are made. B, in the case of this album, like, you can hear, like, Bob Dylan stop and talk a little bit. Like, he's doing one of the tracks, and he actually messes up one of the lines and just kind of stops and goes, yeah, that line was supposed to be this, and then keeps going. I'm like, I kind of like that.
Yeah, something like that. I think one of the things that was cool about the Ozzy Randy Roach tribute record is when they were recording D.
Yeah. And
it's multiple takes, but one streaming continuous track. Mm-hmm. I love that because there's multiple starts, multiple stops, and you hear him talking it through. It's really cool.
Yeah.
I also love anything involving the recording studio. Anything behind the scenes in recording studios. Like, I lived on Metallica a year and a half in the life of Part 1 because of the recording on the Black Album. It was so fucking cool. Anything like that, I'm a big fan of.
Yeah. In particular, when it comes to that kind of stuff, I like seeing vocals done because I like hearing isolated vocals.
Yes. So. I'm sure you've come across the isolated vocals of Freddie Mercury doing Under Pressure.
Maybe not that song in particular, but I've heard the isolated vocals of just various songs.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, very good stuff.
Like, I've heard the isolated vocals of Midlife Crisis from Faith No More.
Oh wow, that's gotta be interesting.
Yeah, it's cool.
I think one of the really good ones I heard was the isolated vocal tracks of Chris Cornell doing Black Hole Sun.
Nice.
Yeah, that was good.
Nice. Yeah, with Rock Band out, it's a lot easier to obtain those. So,
well, one of the weirdest ones and ones that kind of was just out there was the isolated vocal tracks of David Lee Roth doing "Running with the Devil," because it's just really him just making a whole lot of really weird noises, and without the context of the music, it's like, what the fuck is going on?
As a bad joke, I put into back when we were doing the Shred Shack Pro Wrestling predictions videos, I had Mr. Potato Head, and he was Rockstar Spud. Rockstar Spud was actually like Drake Maverick. He's the general manager for 205 Live, little guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say the short guy, right?
Yeah, his name previously was Rockstar Spud.
Oh,
so
okay.
I made a joke and saying that here he is, Rockstar Spud, and the sound that he makes in the videos is actually an isolated sound of David Lee Roth just going, "Wah!"
That's great.
So yeah, that's his whole speech. So,
all right, continuing on.
Yep.
I listened to British Lion, The Burning, and it's Zio or Zio?
I think it's Zio, but I mean I could be wrong.
Yeah. And that was your pick.
I already talked about that, but how was the British Lion album?
Not bad. I mean, we've had the discussion of what has been called like dad rock.
Uh-huh.
Heavy music or heavyish music for guys probably in their 40s and 50s. Uh-huh. That's exactly what this is.
So did you feel like you were hitting your 40s when you were listening to it?
I've been feeling I've been hitting my 40s since I was 35, so yeah, I'm good. No, it was fun. It was a little bit better than I expected it to be, to tell you the truth. I was expecting something a little. I expected to not like it. Mm-hmm. I also expected to hear Steve a lot more, but he was definitely in the mix.
Yeah.
So he wasn't like taking front and center. So I really think that he's kind of. I mean, he knows who he is. Everyone knows who he is, but he's trying to like make this band like its own thing.
Yeah.
At least to a certain extent. Mm-hmm. It's not like he's going to have like two mega successful bands like Corey Taylor with Stone Sour and Slipknot. He's going to have Iron Maiden, which is his baby, and then he's going to have this other little thing that's kind of cool.
Iron Maiden. British Lion.
All right, next up, you listen to Corpaclani, Carcelo.
I think
Carcelo.
Carcelo. Yeah.
And I listen to Scale the Summit, The Collective.
Yeah, I like Corpaclani.
Yeah, Corpaclani is super fun. So. Are we going to do this for our discussion today?
We can.
Well, we'll see what time it is.
Yeah.
We'll see what time it is. All right, next up, I listened to the newest record from Apocalyptica, Cello.
Mm-hmm.
Cello. It's very good. It's all instrumental again. They have no vocals on this one, so it was kind of back to their roots on that one.
Cool.
You listen to Surgical Steel by Carcass, which is a great record.
Yes, it is. Carcass is actually a better band than I realized. A lot more melody to their instrumentation than I realized. So I'm like, damn, this is fucking good.
I think that has to do with the fact that this was a later record. I think probably early on in their career they weren't as much like that, but now that this is like...
Well, they did... I have two albums. The last one they did before they went on hiatus, and then Surgical Steel, which is their first after hiatus.
Yeah.
And I don't know... I didn't read into why the hiatus happened, but like I don't know if anybody has a problem with the way that they sound now, like fuck you, like this is fucking cool. So,
all right. Next up, I listened to some Witchcraft, Legend, and you listen to Marko Hietala.
Yes. Funny thing, I just got that album, Witchcraft.
Which is why I listened to it, because I saw it on you had the vinyl of it. It was like, oh, that looks really cool.
Well, I had the vinyl of Nucleus, but I had the CD of Legend.
Oh, okay. It was Nucleus I saw, but I just saw that first cover. I was like, that looks cool.
Yeah.
That's what I love about the whole Spotify thing now. Is like you can just kind of like what looks cool. You can just try.
This looks metal.
It's really awesome.
That's how I got into Zandel. I was like, this cover looks metal. I'm gonna buy it. I
mean, that's how we bought stuff at Cheapos for the longest time. It's like, is it on Metal Blade Records? Does it have a cool cover? I'm gonna buy it.
Yeah. I mean, I trust certain record labels in general. So
yeah. All right. Next up, you listen to Music Bank by Alice in Chains.
Still listening to it.
Still, I'm sure it's long.
Yeah.
And I listened to Liquid Tension Experiment 2.
The primary reason that I listened to Black Label was because of the fact that I'm still on the Music Bank. And I was like, okay, I need to listen to something else so I can actually have an album of the day. So I was like just flipping through and bam, Black Label. I was listening to something else, which we're going to do a video for, but I finally listened to that album that we're talking about.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about in a video later. So
the last bit here, this is from yesterday, Handful of Days.
Yes.
And I listened to Electric Twilight. This is an album by Chris Ammett. Now, Chris Ammett, or Amat, probably Amat actually. He was one of the former guitarists of Arch Enemy. It was him and his brother Mike. He released a synthwave album yesterday called Electric Twilight, and it's fucking great.
Nice.
I saw that when I was scrolling through working on the script. I saw that on Blabbermouth. I'm like, oh my god, synthwave album. Yes, please.
I was going to say, so both of us didn't listen to metal that day. 'Cause I was going to say, Handful of Days is my friend's band, and they are very good, kind of acoustic bass for the most part. Their singer is kind of sounds like Robert Smith from The Cure, but not metal. So we both had a non-metal day.
Hey, they're allowed.
Yeah, we're allowed. We're
allowed.
Yeah. So.
I mean, we're not closed-minded like a lot of people. So.
Yeah, fuck your shit.
If you have any problems with that, go fuck yourself.
At me, bro.
Bet. All right, so that was albums of the day. And now that we are 45 minutes into the podcast, you want to go on with the rest of our day?
Yes, let's do that.
All right. So, of course, after album releases, we have to get the obituaries out of the way, unfortunately. So, just recently, Corrosion of Conformity drummer Reed Mullen passed away. He was 53 years old. No cause of death has been disclosed.
Yeah, that was kind of surprising.
Because it was like right after we recorded the podcast too.
But also, like, I saw a thing on Instagram, and like, it was like it wasn't really like a rest in peace thing yet. But like, I was like, okay, and I kind of scrolled past it, and then I just kept seeing more stuff from Corrosion of Conformity, and I was like, oh shit, like, that, fuck.
Yeah, that's a bummer. That's certainly a bummer. Andy Gill, he's a guitarist of legendary post-punk band Gang of Four. He passed away at 64. He passed away in a central London hospital after a short respiratory illness. I don't have them written here in the script, but just looking at the 2020 in heavy metal music Wikipedia page, Josh Pape, he's former bassist of DRI and Gangrene. He passed away from undisclosed reasons at age of 53. And just recently, just the other day, Diego Farias, he's the former guitarist of the band Volumes. He passed away from undisclosed reasons. And there's no age here written down, so I'm not sure how old he was. Not
musically related, but also Kirk Douglas passed away
103.
103.
Man, that guy.
Damn.
Good job.
Spartacus lives forever.
Good for him. Not many celebrities in that golden age of Hollywood era lived that fucking long.
He was.
Wow.
Yeah, he powered through.
Good on him. I was
gonna say, I was wondering if, like, Michael would die first.
Right, considering I think Michael has some kind of illness, right?
I don't remember.
I thought he had some kind of illness.
I saw a thing today that I don't know if it actually is a legit quote from him, but it's quoted to Willie Nelson saying, "Youngsters these days need to think about how they're going to leave the earth for me and Keith Richards."
Ain't that the fucking truth?
Yep.
Oh, wow, that's wonderful. All right, you ready for some general news here? General news. All right, showing off the bloody stumps of his fingers, Ozzy Osbourne screams out a heavy metal message for cat guardians in a new PETA ad, "Never declaw." So we are cat owners, and here's a little bit of background about what happens when cats get declawed. So when they are declawed, their claws and part of their toes are amputated. Veterinarians equate declawing with cutting off the last bone in a human's finger, often causing nerve damage, infection, and immense pain. A message that hit home for Ozzy, who nearly lost some of his own fingers in late 2018 as a result of an infection. Because of an impaired balance caused by the crippling procedure, declawed cats have to relearn how to walk and are more likely to bite as a means of self-protection, having lost their first line of defense. They're nearly defenseless when outdoors, and some acquire lifelong behavioral issues, such as urinating outside the litter box, as well as biting.
So, not keen on it being from PETA, But
I know I really, really have a thing against PETA in general.
yeah,
But
not keen on it being from PETA. But the message is there. Don't fucking declaw your cats, because I will fucking declaw you.
yeah, and I know that in New York State, it's illegal to do it now.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure about here. Do you know?
I have no idea, but probably not, because
Considering that one of the cats that you picked up was declawed.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Gwen.
All right. Pantera's social media manager has shared a graphic indicating that the band has surpassed 1 billion streams across Amazon, Apple, Deezer, Google, and Spotify.
Damn.
Yeah. Kobra and the Lotus, Striker, and The Agonist are among the nominees in the Metal Hard Music Album of the Year category at this year's Juno Awards, which is the Canadian equivalent of the Grammy Awards, which is set to be held on Sunday, March 15th at the Sasktel Center in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada.
What were the band's names?
Kobra and the Lotus,
Yep.
Striker, and The Agonist.
Man, fucking Grammys take note.
Right? By the way, I listened to the newest record by Kobra and the Lotus.
Yeah.
Bad ass.
Yeah, they're fucking good. They're
Badass.
fucking good. And Striker we know is good.
Yep.
So
we know Striker, and of course the Agonist.
Yeah, the Agonist we know, obviously.
Yeah, I mean that's
they're
a mainstay right there.
yeah.
All right. Former Machine Head and current Violence guitarist Phil Demmel has launched a music umbrella called Echoes of Reckoning. According to Phil, Echoes of Reckoning will encompass his various solo projects and collaborations, canvassing many genres: thrash, groove, rock, and acoustic. The label's first release will be the song The Permanent Decay, featuring an all-star cast including Demmel, Bleeding Through vocalist Brandon Shipipati. I'm going to stick with that. Megadeth bassist and person who can't get us some goddamn coffee, David Ellefson, and Sacred Reich and ex-Machine Head drummer Dave McClain. The track, which was written by Demmel in late 2016 and was rejected for use on Machine Head's Catharsis album, was made available digitally Friday, January 31st.
Ooh, shots fired.
Shots fired. All right. Former Megadeth and Black Label Society bassist James Lamenzo has announced the formation of a new project with Chris Adler, also let go from Megadeth. Lamenzo broke the news of his collaboration with the ex-Lamb of God drummer during an interview with the Blaring Out with Eric Blair show at last month's NAMM show in Anaheim, California.
When were they let go?
Well, I don't think Chris Adler was actually let go of Megadeth. I mean, he recorded the album.
Oh, okay.
But and he played a few shows, but I don't think he was officially a member of the band.
Gotcha. Okay.
Five Finger Death Punch guitarist Jason Hook will sit out the remainder of the band's European tour because he needs additional time to recover after recently having his gallbladder removed.
So he currently don't got your 6.
No, he does not have your 6. He will be replaced at the remaining shows on the trek by Andy James, who's widely regarded as one of the UK's top rising stars in the world of shred and metal guitar.
Oot.
Last but not least, here for general news, Murder in the Front Row, the San Francisco Bay Area thrash metal story, has announced a physical and digital release date of April 24th via MVD on DVD, Deluxe DVD, 4K, and HD. New bonus material from the documentary is now available, as well as a question and answer session with director Adam Durbin, who's directed the Beastie Boys' Fight for Your Right to Party and No Sleep Till Brooklyn videos at rollingstone.com.
Right on.
All right. Everyone seems to be feeling good, so we don't need to talk to the doctor.
For fuck's sake.
No one's breaking the law, so no need for the crime blotter. Why did I not do breaking the law? What the fuck is wrong with me? It's right there.
I hope you forget this. Don't listen to this episode.
I am typing that in right now.
If you're going to listen to any particular episode of this podcast, make sure it's not this one.
All right, I'm going to do some Metallica stuff here, and then I'm going to use the restroom. Anyway, following a stellar inaugural year with results including job placement rates exceeding 90%, the Metallica Scholars Initiative has confirmed a second year of its support for community colleges and their career and technical education programs. featuring the expansion of the program from 10 to 15 schools, as well as the addition of matching grants from new partners. Metallica, giving back.
Yeah.
Tax write-offs. Anyway. No, they're being nice people, I swear. For last but not least, here we mentioned on the last podcast that James Hetfield will be making his first public appearance since entering rehab. He has made that appearance now this past Thursday, or 2 Thursdays ago on January 30th, when an exhibit featuring 10 of his classic custom cars opened with a ticketed reception at the Peterson Automotive Museum in Los Angeles. Yeah. Hetfield took part in a chat and helped auction off 2 of his ESP guitars at the event. He said he was proud to have his work on display at the museum, quoted as saying, "There's no other place like this. The Peterson is the pinnacle. It's the best place to have your vehicles. They weren't doing me much good sitting in my garage. I loved looking at them. The best part is they're all together. I didn't want to auction them off and have them go all over the world. It's a collection, and it marks my life." Also in attendance were James Hetfield's bandmate Robert Trujillo, along with former Van Halen bassist Michael Anthony and Alice in Chains guitarist and probably one of his best buddies, Jerry Cantrell.
Yeah. I also read something that he kind of refused to leave rehab until that point, until that was coming up.
I don't doubt it. Yeah. There was no indication that he went there because he fell off the wagon.
Yeah.
There is no stories about, a drunken James Hetfield has to go back to rehab. Yeah. This is him I have a feeling this was him kind of getting a top off.
Yeah.
Again, Metallica has a lot of stuff coming up. And I'm sure he's going to spend a lot of time away from his family, a lot of time on the road, a lot of time in Temptation's way, that he needed a top off. Mm. He needed to reaffirm his sobriety, which is super fucking cool. All right. So I'm not going to get into details here, or too many details, but in our section for feuding, let's just say that shit is ugly between Soundgarden and Chris Cornell's widow Vicky in regards to royalties and unreleased material. There's lawsuits, counter lawsuits. Apparently she's holding on to these unreleased songs, saying that they belong to Chris and his estate. They're not part of the band. All this shit, So it's ugly.
Does she just not want to release them, or
I think there's a discussion about ownership and royalties. So I think she says she feels she's due more royalties from probably the already released stuff that she's holding on to these recordings, and of course the band is kind of fighting that, saying that we recorded these songs with Chris, we wrote these songs with Chris, et cetera, et cetera. He doesn't have exclusive ownership to this material, blah 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 blah. So shit is just getting ugly, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah. It's always unfortunate when it comes to the passing of an individual, and it sucks for them, and it also sucks for the fans because that's unreleased material right there. People want to hear that shit.
And the fact of the matter is that the band has said that this material that is unreleased, they were working towards a new album at the time of his passing. Yeah. So this is stuff that we were going to get. Mm-hmm. So it's unfortunate that now this stuff is, for the most part, shelved.
Yeah. So it's kind of shitty, but yeah, money. It's always about money.
It's always about money. So I think that's what a lot of people forget about. This is a business. It's business, and it's a shitty one.
Yeah. Same thing with the gaming industry. Everything's money.
Yeah. All right. Unfortunately, we don't have any news for Alcoholica. Nothing for merchandising this week.
Wow.
I know. But recording news. There's some badass recording stuff going on, but let's get the shitty stuff out of the way first. No, it's not shitty.
I was going to say, why are we reporting on shitty?
I'm just not a fan.
Okay.
Def Leppard, despite the fact that I use the parody of Foolin', I'm not the biggest fan of Def Leppard. Anyway, they will release a new box set called The Early Years, 1979 to 1981, on March 20th via UMC Virgin. The Early Years box set represents the band's first 2 albums, On Through the Night and High and Dry, and has been prepared in conjunction with singer Joe Elliott, who has acted as executive producer on the set. The mastering has been done by the band's long-serving sound engineer, Ron McHugh. This deluxe set comes with 5 CDs consisting of the original album, remastered, B-sides, rarities, and remix versions, Radio 1 sessions, live from Reading, and the first ever appearance of an unreleased and newly mixed show from Oxford in 1980. The album also features an Instant Grat track. This is the first I'm hearing of this. Anyway,
probably instant gratification.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. The much sought after Nick Tauber produced version of Rock Brigade, which was originally penciled as a single for the UK but has never released at the time. Today, 40 years on, the track receives its first official release. Yeah, again, let's just get that one out of the way.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Oh, another one to get out of the way.
Okay.
A CD box set containing the 5 albums from Rat that they recorded for Atlantic Records will be released on March 27th via Cherry Red Records HNE Recordings. The collection, titled Rat, The Atlantic Years 1984 to 1990, is housed in a clamshell and includes several single edits as bonus tracks.
That's amazing, because I didn't know that Rat had more than, one album?
Yeah, I'm not not a fan here.
Riding and rolling, pay.
Rock
Yeah.
and roll. Okay.
Fuck your shit.
All right. Fatal Opera, which is the post-Megadeth project of late classic-era drummer Gar Samuelson.
Yeah.
Gar Samuelson.
Yep.
Will release its final LP, the Fatal Opera 3, in the summer via Combat Records. Now, Combat Records is the one that I think Ellefson just picked up. So it's through Megadeth pretty much.
Right on.
The LP will also include guest appearances from ex-Megadeth guitarist Chris Poland and Megadeth bassist Dave Ellefson, who will appear on the track The Raven, marking the first time Poland, Ellefson, and Samuelson have appeared on a track together since Megadeth's seminal Peace Sells But Who's Buying.
Yep.
There will also be additional guest appearances from Chris Poland and New Yorkers bassist Robbie Pagliari, yes. Marking the first time the original lineup of the New Yorkers, of Poland and Samuelson's pre-Megadeth jazz fusion project, also featuring guitarist Stu Samuelson, has appeared together on a commercial recording. Also, making an appearance on The Raven is Ellefson vocalist and Combat Records A&R Tom Hazard. All right. Fatal Opera, which is Andy Freeman on keyboards and vocals, Stu Samuelson on guitar, Billy Bream on guitar, Travis Karcher on bass, and Gar Samuelson on drums, formed in the early 90s and released its self-titled debut in 1994 and independently released 11th Hour in 2018. Fatal Opera 3 is the final chapter in the band's legacy, featuring the final recordings of Samuelson, who passed away in 1999. Fatal Opera began work on a new album prior to Gar's passing, and the tracks sat for almost 20 years until they were finally revisited. Enough tracks were found to create Fatal Opera 3, produced and mixed by Andy Freeman. The remaining members joined forces to finish the album that was started so many years ago, released in a fitting tribute and celebration of the legacy of Gar Samuelson and Fatal Opera.
Right on.
That's crazy. All right. So this one's going to be really interesting.
Okay.
So when a person turns 50, they usually spend the entire year celebrating in as large of a way as possible to make it their biggest and most memorable birthday yet. And of course, our friend, singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist Ritchie Kotzen is taking the concept literally as he gears up for the release of his most ambitious album to date, and he wants to share his big birthday present to himself with his fans around the world. So 50 for 50, which is his 22nd solo album.
Jesus.
Is due out Monday, February 3rd. Actually, that passed already, so it's probably out somewhere. I can probably get it. Via his own custom label, Headroom Incorporated. The 3-disc collection is just what the title implies, a collection of 50 previously unreleased compositions produced, performed, and written by Kotzen in honor of his birthday. It's the follow-up to his critically acclaimed Salting Earth album, which was released April 14th on 2017 via Headroom Incorporated. So,
cool. I mean, I only know Kotzen from his brief time in Poison, and that was actually a good album.
And he was with he was in the Winery Dogs with Billy Sheehan and Mike Portnoy. Very good album. Very good dad rock, so to speak. But no, he's very, very good, and I love his vocals. His vocals are great.
Right on.
So I definitely worth a check out. So I wonder if it's going to be like a mix of like instrumental and like songs.
Yeah.
So definitely look into that one.
Yeah.
All right, so April's going to be a fucking badass month because check this out. Katatonia will release their new album, City Burials, on April 24th via Peaceful Records. And we have also announced that Testament released their new album on April 3rd, but we now have a title for it. It's called Titans of Creation. The album cover is badass. The long-awaited follow-up to 2016's album Brotherhood of the Snake was once again recorded with Juan Ortega and mixed by veteran British producer and current Judas Priest touring guitarist Andy Sneap.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to those.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, definitely exciting.
Yeah. Still need to... I have a feeling it's going to be one of those things that, like, when I pick up that album, I'm going to pick up the last Testament album I need as well. So,
just double down on it right there.
Yeah, that seems to be the way things are going. Like Sepultura, I picked up Quadra, and I picked up Alex. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to keep doing that over and over.
Hey, as long as you finish the collections, it's all gravy, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I have to finish putting away everything else first.
I know. I still have my 2019 stack that I have to put into the fucking shelves, which is like, ugh.
Yeah.
Because especially now, because I'm going to start pre-ordering like physical copies of. Like, I think the thing I'm doing with Spotify is I'm going to listen to Spotify out on bands that I'm like, getting into, but I'm still going to purchase CDs for bands like Testament and fucking Katatonia and stuff like that. Yeah. So, anyway. According to Epica singer Simone Simons, the band has completed pre-production for the follow-up to 2016's The Holographic Principle album. The new disc will once again be recorded at Sand Lane recording facilities in the Netherlands and produced by Joost van den Broek.
Yeah.
He's busy.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's a busy guy.
He's busy.
He did the Theater Equation.
I was going to say he was like the producer, like kind of... What is I don't want to say choreographer, but I guess the director of that.
I was gonna say like choreographer for that. Like everybody fucking push James LaBrie.
Just push the motherfucker around.
I fucking love that too. Referencing my own shit because that was fucking funny. Because like literally, it's just like the whole time he's just getting pushed around the whole fucking show.
All right, Rob Flynn has confirmed to Rob's Metalworks that Machine Head will release another new standalone song in February. The track will follow Do or Die, which came out last October and was described by some fans and media outlets as a, quote, diss track aimed at Machine Head's detractors, in particular those who have been critical of the band's last album, 2018's Catharsis.
So it's basically a diss track against guys like Pat.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so check this out.
Okay.
Former Machine Head and current Violence guitarist Phil Demmel spoke to the Blaring Out with Eric Blair show about the soon-to-be-released collaboration with drummer Mike Portnoy, vocalist Bobby Blitz, and bassist Mark Menehy from Metal Alliance. It's called BPMD. So it's Bobby, Portnoy, Menehy, and Demmel. It's all cover tunes from American bands of the 70s. It's called American Made. And it's got songs from ZZ Top, Lynyrd Skynyrd, The James Gang, Aerosmith, and Grand Funk Railroad. All these cover tunes that we modernized, not really thrashed them up, but we kind of made metal versions of them. And we think we found maybe a label home. We're looking to put the record out here probably at the end of the first quarter, maybe beginning of the second quarter. It's all up in the air right now.
I'm excited for that because I like Overkill's covers. So I like Bobby Blitz's voice covering things. Their cover of Hymn 43 by Jethro Tull, fucking awesome.
Wow, yeah.
So like, yeah, that's one of my favorites by them. But they have an entire album of covers, and yeah, they rock it. So just for him alone, I'd be excited about that.
And plus, Mike Portnoy, he can play that.
He can play that.
All right, Candlemass will release a new EP, The Pendulum, on March 27th via Napalm Records. The effort is fully comprised of never-before-heard unused tracks cut from the Door to Doom recording sessions. The Door to Doom recording sessions. Blah. In celebration of the 40th anniversary of its widely celebrated album, Agents of Fortune, Blue Oyster Cult performed the seminal album in its glorious entirety at an exclusive concert for the Audience Music Network on Monday, April 18th of 2016 at Red Studios in Hollywood, California, in front of an intimate audience of invited guests.
Dinner theater.
The performance was recorded by an army of cameramen for a direct TV special that is now being released on CD, DVD, Blu-ray, and vinyl on March 6th via Frontiers Music SRL.
Woot.
ZZ Top is preparing to enter the studio to begin work on its 16th studio album. The follow-up to 2012's La Futura will once again be produced by Rick Rubin, who has previously worked with everyone from Adele, Kanye West, and Justin Timberlake to Metallica, AC/DC, Johnny Cash, and Slipknot.
We said ZZ Top, right?
Yeah.
They only have 16 albums?
Right?
I feel like they should have more.
Like a lot more.
Yeah.
Aren't they also celebrating their 50th anniversary?
Something like that, yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. I would
mean,
expect them to have a lot more as well.
I don't fault them in any way, but I mean,
considering that Metallica's been around for almost 40 years and they're on their 10th record.
Yeah.
So
I don't fault them. What I know of theirs, I like. So yeah, well, it just makes my life easier when I finally sit there and become a bigger fan of theirs and have to get their stuff. So
well, I mean, they are the little band from Texas who've been here for a couple of years, so we gotta get on that.
Yeah, well, I gotta work on my beard first.
You just trimmed it.
I know. I said work on it.
Okay. On April 17th, the Black Dahlia Murder will release its new album, Amrphis?
I have no idea. I don't have my phone in front of me.
Anyway, it's coming out via Metal Blade Records. The disc is described in a press release as the band's most dynamic, rousing, and emotional release to date, and it achieves this without compromising one iota of heaviness.
That's a bold statement.
Bold statement.
I mean, I don't know Black Dahlia Murder, but I'm just saying that's a bold statement right there.
Very bold, Cotton. Let's see if it works out for him. I fucking love Jason Bateman in that movie.
Yeah. Ouch town population, you bro.
Effing A. All right, Joe Satriani's new studio album Shape Shifting is set for release on April 10th via Sony Music Legacy Recordings. August Burns Red has announced its 8th full-length album Guardians, due on April 3rd via Fearless Records. And we just talked about this one recently. Former Arch Enemy and current Dark Tranquillity guitarist Chris Amat has announced the release of his new synthwave album titled Electric Twilight. Badass record.
Right on.
Lamb of God will release their new self-titled album on May 8th via Epic Records in the U.S. and Nuclear Blast Records in Europe. The follow-up to Seven Strum und Drang will mark Lamb of God's first recordings with Art Cruz, who joined the band last July as a replacement for the group's founding drummer Chris Adler.
Cool.
Static X has released a new single, Hollow, while announcing that its long-awaited 7th studio album, Project Regeneration, will consist of more than 20 tracks, which will appear over 2 volumes to be released separately. Project Regeneration Volume 1 will feature 12 brand new Static X tracks containing many of the final vocal performances and musical compositions of late Static X frontman Wayne Static, along with the original Wisconsin Death Trip lineup of bassist Tony Campos, drummer Ken Jay, and guitarist Koichi Fukada. Both volumes are being mixed by longtime Static X producer Ulrich Wild.
Word.
And I did listen to the new single, Hollow, and the music's great. It sounds like Static X. I'm not sold on the vocals, though. It sounds very watered down. He sounds like latter-day Korn vocals. And
that's how he started to sound towards the end of Static X.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan.
Yeah, if you listen to Shadow Zone, he went full on Jonathan Davis.
Yeah, again, not 100% sold on it. 6 Feet Under will have entered the studio to begin recording their new album. The follow-up to 2017's Torment is due later this year via Metal Blade Records. And last but not least here, Grey Days, which is Chester Bennington's pre-Linkin Park band, will release Amends, featuring newly recorded music with remastered vocals from the group's long out-of-print and largely undiscovered catalog on April 10th via Loma Vista Records.
I was actually way back in the day, I was curious about what that sounded like his previous band.
Yeah.
But now I can figure it out.
Yep.
One thing I wish they would do, I wish Linkin Park would do, is release their EP that they released before they did Hybrid Theory. because it actually had like one or two songs that I don't think have been put onto latter day albums, and they are like really good. So
that would be very cool.
Yep.
That would be very, very cool.
Yep. I think only one song ended up appearing on like Hybrid Theory, and the rest are like, lost to the independent.
Like, I would really like. I like how like Slipknot recorded a few of the tracks from 8 Feet Kill Repeat, put them on Ladder Records. I think there's one song I think they really, really, really need to redo is Bitch Slap. I fucking love that song.
Do nothing, Bitch Slap. I think they should just release the album.
8 Feet Kill Repeat.
Yeah, they just release it. Like,
it's super fun.
Yeah, it's not a representation of what they became, but it's just an enjoyable album.
And they really just throw all of their influences into it too. Yeah. There's so much different shit going on that record. The
random ass funk breakdown that is Do Nothing Bitch Slap.
That is the best.
Yeah.
I fucking love that song.
Yeah. The original version of Only One I enjoyed. I like both versions.
I actually prefer the version of Purity on 8 Feet Kill Repeat.
I prefer the version of Gently on 8 Feet Kill Repeat.
That's what I meant, Gently.
Yeah.
Not Purity, Gently.
Yeah.
I prefer that version compared to what they did on Iowa.
Yep. Confession. I think the only thing that would stop them is Confessions, which is actually a cover song. So they have to get the right.
Well, again, they could just some of these bands, they go back and re-record like earlier recordings, like Days of Purgatory, the Ice Earth re-recording everything with Matt Barlow on vocals. They can do the same thing with Corey. Yeah. Just re-record everything, make it sound better.
I kind of liked the lo-fi sound of the album. So,
all right, so we don't have anything for The Good That Men Do, unfortunately. We have nothing here for crowdfunding. Anything new anyway. Aside, do you have any update on your friend, the actress?
No, I don't have any update right now.
All right, so do you have anything for Things I Want?
No, I actually didn't think about it this week. So you got something? Okay.
I do have something. So there's a precursor to this one. So in a brand new interview with Ouch, You're on My Hair podcast, Tim Owens was asked if there has ever been any talk of him collaborating with Rob Halford on a new project. And his response was, "We've never talked about it, which would be pretty awesome. Rob and I are friends, and it's great. I'd love to do something with Rob, and I've always thought about it, and I think the fans will love it, even if we do a song or two." And somebody laughed when I said this, but for the last 15 years, I've always said, man, I would love to do the song Under Pressure with Rob. It would be a great cover. And it's funny because that song features two of my favorite singers, Freddie Mercury and especially David Bowie. He absolutely loves David Bowie. And for Rob and I to do it, I think it would be an amazing thing. I want that.
Okay.
That's what I want. I want Ripper and I want the Metal God to do Under Pressure.
Yeah.
And I think it would be fucking awesome.
So speaking of Tim Owens in particular, I made the mistake of going onto Cameo.com. You know what that is, right?
Yeah, where you can pay like a celebrity to like phone calls, stuff like that.
Yeah, I made the mistake of going on there and seeing like what metal artists are on there, and I'm like, fuck, we could totally get some like random shit for the shred check for that. Like, some of it's not badly priced. Like, I think Tim Owens charges like $25.
That's not bad at all.
No, just to have him like do an intro or something like that, I would totally pay that.
Wow.
I think Portnoy's on there. There's a bunch on there.
Oh, if we can get Portnoy to say I can play that,
I know. That's what I'm saying.
I think I would fucking die.
That's what I'm saying. Like I would totally, I would totally pay for something like that.
Or get like a new version of the Wild Chuck Billy Appears grunt. Oh my god!
I really need that to become a thing. The Wild Chuck Billy Appears.
Oh, I need to find what. Do you remember when that was?
What's that video?
Yeah,
October 2017, 2018.
All right, because I wanted to show it to Brandy and I couldn't remember it. It doesn't come up like as a photo.
Yeah.
Of the video.
Yeah,
so.
it's October. It's October. It's definitely an October video. I can't remember if it's 2017 or 2018.
Oh well, we can look it up because it was the follow up to it was Brotherhood of the Snake. So.
Oh, then 2016.
Yeah, so it was 2016.
Wow, really?
Or is it one of those things? Yeah. Wow. Okay.
It may have been one of those things that I'm thinking of it wrong because of the fact that I took so long to do it.
Yeah, I think it might have been a talk so long to do it type of thing.
Yeah, because I spent months on that.
Yeah, that was a long one.
Yeah,
it was a good one. One of our best.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites because I want to do more crap like that. Just
there's a thing you want.
Yeah, there's just well, as far as we go, I want to do more things like that and. I have animation software that I've barely ever used. I need to really, get a feel for that and get something going because I always want to do. I want to do things in a more fun way for us.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, instead of just looking at our ugly mugs.
Yeah, because that's one of the things. Here's the thing I want. It drives me crazy when. People are doing album reviews, and it's just them, talking. Like the videos on them. It's you could have done this in a different format. You could have typed this out. It's them doing it, verbatim. But, me, I couldn't do something like that because of the fact that I just sit here and go,
and then you do the thing with the hands and
yeah, and I don't like sitting there staring at someone's face while they're just sitting there just talking at me about an album. I would like them to mix it up, which is what I tried to do when we did the videos. Is throw in random video clips, cutaways, make things animated, or give us something else going on.
Make a story into it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Pat's old reviews are really fun.
Yeah.
And then we kind of carry that over into the Grand Magus video, which is one of my favorite ones that we've ever done.
Yeah,
I really like that one. And then of course the animated one, that was good.
But when you're just sitting there talking for a solid 10 minutes and you don't cut away, you don't do anything, you just kind of have cuts in the footage, oh, I made a mistake here.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. I'm you lost me 8 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So. That is to say, if that's your thing, keep doing it.
Mazel tov.
Yeah, go for it. It's just not my thing.
Yeah, we try to vary.
Yeah, even when I do my own video logs on my own personal channel, I don't like doing them for very long.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that no one wants to sit there and stare at my fucking face.
It gets awkward.
Yeah, no one wants to stare at my fucking face for 10 minutes while I sit there and talk about my life.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Are we ready for some touring news, concert news?
Yes.
All right. Festivals coming up first.
Okay.
So adding to the excitement of its previously announced headliners Foo Fighters and Red Hot Chili Peppers, Boston Calling rolls out news the other day that recently reunited rock icons Rage Against the Machine will also headline its 2020 festival in what will be the band's only scheduled performance in the New England area this year. Foo Fighters will kick off the headlining Boston Calling performance on Friday, May 22nd, followed by Rage Against the Machine on Saturday, May 23rd, and Red Hot Chili Peppers will round out the festival on Sunday, May 24th, making it an epic weekend of live 1990s music. Joining these rock heavyweights to perform across the festival's 5 stages are over 60 artists in all. Boston Calling, the acclaimed annual 3-day festival, will take place at the Harvard Athletic Complex in Austin, Massachusetts on Memorial Day weekend, May 22nd through 24th, 2020.
When you were saying the reunited rock icons thing, I thought we were going to be that whole thing from the last podcast where we were talking about Bon Jovi and it's Rock and Roll Hall of Famers. Bon Jovi. Oh. But I thought you were going to let me down. I was like, nope, you didn't let me down.
Nope, not this time.
Rage Against the Machine.
Rage Against the Machine. All right. So this one's super cool. All right. Psycho Las Vegas will continue to redefine America's conception of what a festival can be, taking over Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino for the second year in a row on August 14th through the 16th of 2020. Now, performance highlights will include, this is not just the bands that are playing, these are performance highlights. Danzig will celebrate the 30th anniversary of arguably his best record, Danzig 2, Lucifuge, whatever.
Yeah.
And will also be the only performance of the album in its entirety in the U.S. this year. Merciful Fate will fly in for an exclusive reunion performance in the U.S. for 2020, also marking their first performance together since 1999.
Woot.
At the Gates will perform Slaughter of the Soul in its entirety, celebrating 25 years of the album. Down will celebrate the 25th anniversary of his debut album, Nola. Reunion performances by Adamantium and Poison the Well, who are also celebrating the 20th anniversary of their Opposite of December album. Emperor, Waytain, and Satyricon will make special one-off appearances at the festival. Cult of Fire and Memphis to Felis.
Huh?
I don't know. Anyway, they will make their U.S. debut performances at Psycho Las Vegas, so these are new bands. So, again, just super cool.
Yeah, I was going to say, this sounds like a good one to go to.
Yeah.
Like
There's randomly awesome stuff happening.
It's like every single band that comes up is a reason to fucking celebrate.
Woo!
Like, don't close the bar just yet. We got one more celebration to do.
We're doing this. We're doing this. All right, here we go. All right, so touring.
Yep.
So not necessarily a metal band here, but they have reunited. My Chemical Romance. They have announced a summer-fall U.S. tour. The trek will kick off on September 9th in Detroit, Michigan, and end on October 11th in Las Vegas, Nevada. The tour includes a headlining appearance at the Aftershock Festival in Sacramento, California, where they will play in between Metallica's 2 headlining shows. They will also perform at Chicago's Riot Fest. Now, apparently, all these shows that they announced, all this whole tour, is sold out.
I'm not surprised.
Already.
I'm not surprised. So
And people are not okay with it.
that's an album title, isn't it?
It's a song title.
Okay.
Actually, I don't know if it's a song title, but it's definitely a chorus in one of their songs.
I'm going to need you to get fucked.
Faith No More, which recently announced their first European live performances in 5 years, has extended the trek, adding shows in Stuttgart, Berlin, Amsterdam, Milan, and Zurich.
Woot.
Here's one for us. Napalm Death will embark on a North American tour this spring. The trek will kick off with a few West Coast dates featuring support from the Locusts, while the rest of the tour will feature Aborted and Worm. Select shows will also include Tombs. There is a San Antonio date here on May 11th at the Rock Box.
Pretty sure that's a Wednesday, unfortunately.
So that will not be a show that I go to.
That'll be a show that I go to because fucking Napalm Death.
Yep. And we were just talking on the last podcast that Dan needs Napalm Death to come around again, and here they are.
Yeah, that's right.
They listen.
Yeah. That's right. We have fans.
We have fan. Fan.
We have fans.
Sammy Hagar of The Circle will embark on a summer 2020 U.S. tour with Whitesnake and Night Ranger. Hagar and his Circle bandmates Michael Anthony, Jason Bonham, and Vic Johnson will be promoting their debut studio album Space Between, which came out last May. Now, I do believe that Sammy Hagar and The Circle are also performing at the Rodeo this year here in San Antonio, which is this month.
They are.
I also believe that Bush is performing at the Rodeo.
Really?
I think I saw that.
I did not see that.
I think I did.
You sure it wasn't George Bush? Bad joke.
Great joke. Stop.
Bad
Great
joke.
joke.
Terrible joke.
Awesome joke. Great. Fucking love it. All right, anyway. Disturbed has announced a 31-date The Sickness 20th Anniversary Tour throughout North America, which is co-produced by Frank Productions and Live Nation. The Amphitheater Tour with very special guests Stained and Bad Wolves celebrates the 2-decade anniversary of the band's seminal album, The Sickness. On this tour, the band will perform songs off the album as well as tracks from their most recent studio release, Evolution, and their extensive catalog, which is exactly what a normal tour is. There's nothing special. The Sickness 20th Anniversary Tour will run from mid-July through mid-September with dates in cities including Tampa, Toronto, Cincinnati, Phoenix, and Irvine.
So you'll just basically they'll probably play more of The Sickness than they normally do, and you'll get to hear just really how badly that album has been dated. Because man, like it's a little bit of a hard listen at this point. For me personally,
I still enjoyed it.
I
mean, I go back to it very infrequently. It's not like something I can listen to over and over again, like Kill Switch Engage's Alive or Just Breathing, which I listen to at least once a week.
Yeah, it's a hard listen for me. They got better. So, although I'm still not a big fan of theirs.
Yeah, I mean, they're serviceable. They're there.
They're there.
I can listen. I can eat. I can listen.
Yeah.
Agnostic Front have announced a co-headlining tour with Sick of It All. The 19-date trek will begin on April 23rd in Boston and will make stops in Toronto, Chicago, and Houston before concluding in Syracuse, New York on May 15th.
Next year, for the Nuclear Blast Black Friday sale, it's going to be Agnostic Front. Because that was one that I passed up on this year because I already had enough.
Mark it down, gentlemen.
That's
Mark
right.
it down.
So I will. I like their album. Oh God, what is it called? Like the Day America Died or something like that. Whatever one of their album was about 5 years ago.
Uh-huh.
I like that album. So they're good in my book.
All right. Guns N' Roses has announced the North American dates as part of its Epic 2020 Worldwide Stadium Tour this summer. Nothing around here, I don't think. But on a side note, Smashing Pumpkins will support Guns N' Roses on select dates of that tour coming up, actually. Making it a very interesting show.
Yeah, I was going to say, that doesn't sound like it mixes at all.
Coheed and Cambria will return to the road for the 40-plus date Neverender NWFT Tour in 2020. Continuing the popular Neverender Tour series, the group will perform its 2007 fourth studio album, Good Apollo, I'm Burning Star 4, Volume 2, No World for Tomorrow, in its entirety. Additionally, fans can expect performances of Coheed and Cambria classics as well as other essential material from the band's expansive catalog. San Antonio date, May 6th at the Aztec. Perfect place to see them, by the way.
So, it's just funny that it's named Neverender, but it made me think of something that I saw in some of my research of Bob Dylan. He hasn't gone on named tours since the early 80s. It's pretty much the never-ending tour.
Says Bob Dylan.
So it's like, if you go onto Wikipedia, 1981 was the start, and pretty much they just list all the dates he's played since then.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, just, I'm going on tour. Fuck you shit, I'm going on tour.
I mean, the tours really need a name.
No, not really.
I mean,
but like,
when you think about it,
it's just one of those things where it's like, I'll play a show when I fucking feel like it.
it feels like Paul McCartney. Like every year, Paul McCartney kind of gets unfrozen. It's like, all right, we're going on tour for a month, and then he gets frozen again. It's like, all right, I'm coming back out for a little bit.
New album.
Which I think I just saw this. I might have been dreaming, but because I didn't see anything follow up after it. The Rolling Stones, have announced a few dates.
They're playing in Dallas.
Rolling Stones,
U.S. tour in 2020.
They are the original Rolling Stones that created the Earth. So what the fuck?
Yeah, they are pieces of the comet that killed the dinosaurs.
Just rolling around here.
Getting
Keith
all
Richards, rock and roll.
Getting all literal in this bitch.
Oh man! All right. Following the enormous success of 2019's inaugural Knotfest Roadshow tour, Slipknot has announced that they will once again be hitting the road this summer to headline the Knotfest Roadshow 2020 North American tour produced by Live Nation. Joining them will be special guest A Day to Remember, Under Oath, and Code Orange.
Woot.
And I did not write this down here, but apparently there's a festival. Oh, I think we might have mentioned it last podcast where Megadeth and Lamb of God might be activating a festival or a touring festival that kind of went defunct for a little bit. The Mayhem Festival?
Mayhem or Gigantor?
No, I think it's the Mayhem Festival.
Oh, really?
I don't remember, but I think there was a leaked date to kind of confirm the rumors. So I'm sure we're going to see dates for that coming up real soon. Mm-hmm. Hopefully. And hopefully there's something close by, because I love to see Megadeth again.
Yeah, I want to see them one more time before anything worse happens to Dave.
Yeah, and I want to see Lamb of God again. I haven't seen them in years, and I really would like to see them again.
Yeah.
Aerosmith, one-offs? Ready for some one-offs?
One-offs.
One-offs. Aerosmith will play at famed Fenway Park on Friday, September 18th. Tickets on sale to the public that was this past January 31st.
Okay. So Joey Kramer should be ready by then?
You would think so.
Unless they're really like, I don't know.
Well, think about it. They're trying to get him to be up to par, from what I understand, because they have a bunch of shows for their residency in Las Vegas this month.
Yeah.
So here's a huge fucking show. System of a Down, Korn, and Faith No More will perform at Bank of California Stadium in Los Angeles, California on May 22nd. Helmet and Russian Circles will also appear on this bill.
Wow.
Due to overwhelming demand, They have added a second show at the same stadium in Los Angeles, California. The bands will now also perform at the venue on Saturday, May 23rd, which is one day after the previously announced show. And again, it's the full lineup. It's System of a Down, Korn, Faith No More, Helmet, and Russian Circles.
It's one of those times that I kind of wish I lived in California.
Kinda?
But then I kind of snap out of it and go, fuck that.
I'm just wondering, like, I mean, this seems to be like something that people want.
Yeah.
Really want.
Well,
Like, is this like putting a toe in the water for a tour?
I think it should just be a toe in the water for a tour for System of a Down. Like
That would be nice.
Like just them touring the U.S. in general would be nice.
Yes.
So
Yes, because I haven't seen System of a Down in probably a decade and a half.
Yeah.
And
not since
Korn I've seen a couple times. I can deal, but we've only seen Faith No More the one time in Houston, and that was an amazing show.
Yep.
And to see like those bands together would definitely be a little cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah, just a tiny bit.
just a tad, just a touch.
Yeah.
Scotch.
Yeah.
Scotch cool.
Iota.
Jiffy.
Pinch.
I mean,
Dash.
that just turned out to 11. Like, let's just be real here.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, last bit for one-offs here. Sirius XM announced today that Pearl Jam will perform at Harlem's world-famous Apollo Theater in a special invitation-only concert for Sirius XM subscribers and Pandora listeners on Thursday, March 26th.
Wow.
I find it very funny that the band who went to war with Ticketmaster about their pricing is doing an invite-only event.
Shit changes.
Yeah, I guess so. Priorities change.
Yeah, you get old and you're like, fuck it.
Yeah, fuck it. We fought the good fight. We're done.
Yeah.
All right, so you ready to be disappointed? We got some charts here. All right, so as always, we will do the top 5 on the top 200 Billboard.
Yep.
So number 1 is a album by Buddy. Okay, let me start again. Is an album by Roddy Ricch. The album's called "Please Excuse Me for Being Antisocial." Oh, we've talked about this one.
Yeah, because I had a gripe about the use of the word antisocial.
Yeah, it fell down for a little bit, but it's back at number 1.
Wow. Good for you and your ill use of the term.
All right. At number 2 is the newest record by Eminem, "Music to Be Murdered By."
Wow.
Still around.
Okay, so is that brand new or is that like?
Oh, it's brand new. It was at number 1 last week. It's only been on the charts for a week.
Okay, I was gonna say like, did it like not go to number 1?
They went to number 1. It was at number 1 last week.
Okay.
And it's been replaced by Roddy Ricch.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right, making a surge, and what's her name? Billie Eilish has been on the charts for 44 weeks, and she's back at number 3. This is probably after she's probably gotten a little bit of a surge after winning 4 fucking Grammys.
Yeah, I still haven't not heard a single song.
I have. The one that's, I've heard 2 because it's on the radio, and the one song I know for sure is it's called "Bad Guy." I think a lot of people give her crap for having a very whisper style of singing. It's very quiet, but it's catchy as fuck. So you can't fault her for that. She's also very young. I think she's like 17, so she's got a long way to go. To make music. Yeah. And hopefully it's not just like a one-off thing for her.
We'll see. Because I mean, I find it so funny that like in moments of like a moment in time, people have such gripes about certain kinds of music. It's like, give it some time, it'll probably go away. Yeah. Or it'll just decline in popularity and it becomes less apparent. Yeah. So, or it'll make a resurgence like the Super Bowl halftime and we have a new Latin invasion.
And people are all for it, so whatever.
Well, some people are all for it. Some people are. Well,
we can have a whole discussion point about that.
Yeah, we don't need to get into the bullshit side of that.
But. I mean, because the fact of the matter is that after that came out, after the halftime show happened, a guy I used to really like. I used to like Eddie Trunk a lot, but as the more I see his tweets, the less I like him, because he really is the person that gives rock fans a bad name, because all he complains about is like the halftime show, they had Guns N' Roses in Florida. They're going to put them at the halftime show. This is fucking ridiculous. No respect for rock music, blah, 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 blah. It's like, dude, this is a genre that has been saying that we do not need the respect, or we do not need the adoration of the mainstream media, yet we are the ones who are knocking at the door begging to be in the club. Yeah. Like, you can't have it both ways. You can't. And the way he sounds, he just sounds like a bitter old white man. And it gives all of us bitter old white men a bad name. It's terrible. Yeah. It's terrible.
No, I can feel that, because it's that we've talked so many times before, but the closed-mindedness. Yeah. It's just
again, just because it's not a genre that you like. I mean,
it's also the Super Bowl halftime. Like, what do you expect?
It's a business, just like everything else is a business. They're not gonna sell commercial time for the halftime show for a band that hasn't released any relevant music in 30 fucking years. Yeah. J-Lo and fucking Shakira are still putting out relevant music. They have new releases. They do stuff that's new. Yeah. You're not going to put fucking Guns N' Roses up there playing the same songs they've been playing for 30 years for 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. It's not going to work. Same thing. Metallica, they are a great show for heavy metal fans. They are not a show for that audience. They don't have the choreography, the dancing, and stuff like that. That's the entertainment value of the halftime show. Yeah. Yeah. I think old guys like Eddie Trunk missed that part of the business. Yeah. And which is funny, because he was an A&R guy. He should know this stuff. He was in the music business. He should know things. But again, stuck where he was. Yeah. And never getting out.
Yeah. And just kind of digging that hole deeper. So.
And the thing is, it was the same thing when the Grammys happened too. I mean,
the thing is, like, we've come to a point where we don't have high expectations for things. We still want to know. We still report on it, but we don't have high expectations for things like the Grammys or any sort of award season.
The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, especially. We don't have these high expectations for it, but we do still want to know what's going on.
Yeah, and again, for a genre who prides itself on its rebelliousness, to really be like at the door begging to be let into the club is just kind of hypocritical.
Yeah, it's stupid. So,
all right. Anyway, can we continue on? Because that's a whole other thing that we probably talk about
next time. Things I want.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, number 4 is Halsey, her album Manic. And last but not least, here in the top 5 is Post Malone's album Hollywood's Bleeding. And now it is time to scroll.
Okay, hold on. I need to pull out some music. Let me get the star music from Mario 3 going.
No, where's Spud McRocker or whatever we call it?
Rockstar Spud.
Rockstar Spud. All right, here we go. Number 29 is the debut. It's a new album from Breaking Benjamin, Aurora.
Yeah, you could have skipped that one.
Oh, well, you're not going to like it when it comes into the lane. Number 39 is Queen's Greatest Hits. Queen's Greatest Hits. Number 39.
Which means that Breaking Benjamin's number 1 on the rock charts.
Yeah, so we will just skip that then.
Yeah, we will.
Because now you know. And knowing is half the battle.
The other half of the battle is not giving a fuck!
Oh my god. They still do these Now albums. Now 73. Number 64. Now.
It would have been great if it came
for something completely different.
It would have been great. Like, every single time it comes out at the number it is.
Right, that'd be amazing. Like, it's not really at that number, but Billboard just puts it at that number. So every year it gets a little bit lower. Creedence Clearwater Revival, 20 Greatest Hits is at number 72. Yep.
Right,
both Frozen soundtracks are on here. Journey's Greatest Hits are at number 78. The Greatest Showman, Moana. A lot of soundtracks all of a sudden here. Bob Marley and the Wailers, Best of, 92. Beatles, Abbey Road, at number 97. Took a little bit of a 15-point dive there.
Ah, my dog.
Oh, a new album by the Pet Shop Boys called Hot Spot is at number 100. Rumors, Fleetwood Mac, 102. Another 15-point dive. We got a couple of albums from some of the guys in the top 5, like Roddy Ricch and Billie Eilish and Eminem. They got multiple albums on the charts at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Bad Boys for Life soundtrack. Whatever. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers' greatest hits, number 1, Levon. Back in Black, number 117. Greatest hits by Guns N' Roses, 121. The Essential Michael Jackson at 129. That man can dance.
You need to get over that shit.
I know, it's been like 5 years. Five Finger Death Punch, Decade of Destruction, 142.
It still has your 6.
142. The Greatest Hits of the Eagles, 147. Another Eminem record in there. Although for some reason... Oh, okay. Okay. It looked like the cover of License to Ill.
Yeah.
But it's Eminem's record.
Oh.
Bob Seger, Silver Bullet Band, Greatest Hits 155.
Woot.
Nevermind, Nirvana 159, 159. Metallica's Black Album 163.
Mm-hmm.
Getting down to the Greatest Hits, the Ultimate Collection of Bon Jovi 175.
Yeah, Rock and Roll Hall of Famers.
Won all the accolades.
Oh God,
imaginable, all of them.
That was some of the worst journalism.
The Witcher, the music from the Netflix original series, brand new record, coming out at 184.
There's a song that everyone keeps referencing from that show.
Toss a coin to your Witcher, or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
It's been covered a couple times already. I think Matt Heffy from Trivium has done it. I don't know. I just watched the first episode. It seems like a cool show. I really want to get into it. It's also a book series. I have a Kindle now. Might be a thing.
It's also a video game.
It's nerdy shit. And I love it. And yeah, that really does wrap us up. Fuck that noise.
Okay. So, I think the discussion we were going to do last time, I think we'll save for next time because it's a long one.
Yes.
But we were going to discuss the post that we did earlier in this week. Was it this week? Fuck, I lost track of time. I think it was
this week. Let's see. It was 4 days ago, so yeah, It was Monday.
Okay, cool. So it was a list of 16 artists, or not a list of, it was a
photos of 16
diagram
artists.
of 16 artists that it says if you could bring one back from the dead to see them play again.
You can buy a ticket to see one perform again, and it's a band name with a deceased member.
Yeah.
So let's go through the list of these people.
Well, let's do them one by one because I'm going to forget.
All right. So you got John Bonham from Led Zeppelin.
A lot of people, I feel like I think of the small handful of responses that we got, I think Led Zeppelin was like the most.
Yeah, I think our cousin Dave mentioned that he says Led Zeppelin, and he said a close second for him was Pantera.
Yeah, which we'll get to.
And
I think we had 2 on Instagram and then like 1 or 2 on Facebook for it.
Michelle Meraldo. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure. Anyway, she said Zeppelin. Mm-hmm. All right. I'm not sure who's on Facebook. I just have the Instagram pulled up. Yeah. So next one up is Chuck from Death. I'm
not a Death fan yet, so I know like he has a legacy, and it would be one of those things like I'd want to see it just to see it. But again, not yet a Death fan.
I'm also going to have to preamble this with the fact that some of these members, some of these names, I'm not going to know.
Okay.
So we'll go from there. So of course, Dimebag Darrell from Pantera.
Yeah, I would go for that.
So. Cliff Burton from Metallica.
I'm actually kind of okay with that one. Like, I mean.
Well, I think the premise here is like there's a list of people that passed away. You can only pick one.
Yeah, but I mean.
So how are we doing this? Because I know what my answer is, and I'm not going to give it until we go through the whole list, so I can talk about how I check these things off.
Well, I'm just kind of going through the list in general right now, and then we can kind of pick
the
one afterward. I mean, with Cliff, like, it's not him in particular that I want to see. I would want to see Metallica 1986 in general.
Yeah. Just the fire of
yeah.
the Master of Puppets era.
Yeah, like the band at their just on tour with Ozzy. I would love to have seen that tour.
Yeah, because apparently he every night they blew him off the stage.
Yeah.
So all right. Next up, you got Dio, of course.
Yes. I'll get to that one when we go later.
All right,
on.
Jeff Hanneman from Slayer.
Seen Slayer, so I'm pretty okay with that.
Oderus Urungus from Gwar.
Yeah.
Randy Rhoads from Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah.
A gentleman who passed away from Bathory.
That's Quorthon. Yeah.
The drummer from Kiss.
It's Eric Carr.
Eric Carr.
Yep.
A gentleman from Deep Purple.
John Lord. I believe it's John Lord.
That would probably be John Lord. Okay, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Gentleman from Exodus.
It's Paul Baloff.
Oh, okay. Mayhem, of course.
Probably Euronymous.
Yep. Megadeth.
Gar Samuelson.
Yep. Gorgoroth.
That one I don't know.
Yeah, and there's one in the corner I can't read it.
It's Anal Cunt.
Oh, okay, that's Anal Cunt.
Yeah.
All right. So when I looked at this, I looked at first the people I've seen. So Dio, seen him already.
Yeah.
Slayer with Jeff Hanneman, seen it. But Pantera with Dimebag, seen it. So I don't need to see those.
Yeah.
And then I started looking at the individual people in these bands that we're talking about here, in the context of what would be special about seeing them specifically.
Yeah.
So for bands, for people here who are just talking about who are instrumentalists in the bands, Randy Rhoads, Cliff Burton, Led Zeppelin. Cliff Burton from Metallica, then John Bonham from Led Zeppelin. The fact of the matter is that you can still see these people, these bands perform these songs without these members of the band.
Yeah.
The only time you would see them actually perform as a standalone performer to actually showcase their talents as a solo performer would be during a drum solo, a bass solo, a guitar solo. Mm. So you really aren't seeing them doing their thing. They are not the band itself.
Yeah.
So I left out Randy Rhoads, Cliff Burton, and John Bonham.
Okay.
I also can probably leave out the same for John Lord from Deep Purple. Mm-hmm. When you go to see Deep Purple, you're there to hear the songs. You can hear the songs without specifically John Lord. You're not going to see his specific talents until it's a solo. Yeah. Same thing with the drummer of Kiss, drummer of Megadeth. You can still see these bands. I have seen these bands without them. I'm just not a big enough fan to be able to pick Bathory, Mayhem, or Gorgoroth.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see these bands now. There's nothing that drives me to that. My pick, I can get one ticket to see one perform again. It would have to be Chuck from Death. Only because not only was he a guitar player in the band, but he was the songwriter and the vocalist. He was that band. Mm-hmm. So you can't really see Death without Chuck, but you can see all these other bands without these other members for the most part. Of course, Dio, but we've seen Dio. Gwar, not the biggest fan of Gwar. Yeah. So I think for me, my money, Chuck and Death.
Okay. Differentiating from that, I think of the era that they were alive in. So I will look at I whittle it down. By that means to Metallica with Cliff Burton, Megadeth with Gar Samuelson, and Ozzy with Randy Rhoads.
Oh, so you're going by era, not by person himself?
I'm going by era.
Okay.
Because I would like to if I were not the age that I was, if I were not born at the time that I was, and I were an older gentleman, and I were able to see these individuals play at that time, which one would I have wanted to see the most?
Okay.
And my answer is probably going to be Randy Rhoads. Now, you have pretty much the same point that I made for Metallica as far as Cliff Burton, figuring about 1986 when they're doing Master of Puppets era on tour with Ozzy and stuff like that. That I feel is the pinnacle of that time with him. in the same vein, I feel similarly about Gar Samuelson and the Peace Salesman Who's Buying era. Like, you have the same reasoning there, but it's hard to pick which one over, Like, I feel like ultimately I might be a bigger Megadeth fan, but
they definitely have a larger catalog of better songs.
But with Metallica, I'm a bigger fan of their first 3 albums when compared to the first 2 albums of Megadeth. So that kind of just balances out, but Randy Rhoads in particular rises up because you have Ozzy before things got out of whack. Kind of getting his shit together after being booted from Black Sabbath. Diary of a Madman, Blizzard of Oz, touring under those 2, playing some Black Sabbath tunes with that kind of talent at the forefront would be incredible. The tribute album that they had, the Speak of the Devil album. Speak of the Devil wasn't him, sorry, but the tribute album just shows the live material is fantastic. I would have loved to have seen him, and me being like a guitar player, but a passive one for sure. I would have loved to have seen that. See him doing his craft. So.
Well, if I was to go in the way that you were thinking, as far as era, I would probably go along with our cousin and our other commenter and go with Bonham and Zeppelin.
Yeah. Because
at the time that they were hitting their stride, and I'm thinking around the release of Zeppelin 4. We're talking Stairway to Heaven. We're talking right before they started jumping the shark a little bit, but we're talking When the Levee Breaks. Stuff like that. Just the groove that this guy had and the fucking force behind his drumming. And the fact of the matter is that there's very few bands that sounded like Led Zeppelin at the time. I think that would probably if I was going by what you were doing, going by era, that's who I would probably pick as well.
See, if I were a bigger Led Zeppelin fan, that would probably end up being my choice. But I'm a bigger fan of Ozzy. I'm a bigger fan of those first 2 albums by Ozzy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
For sure.
So I think that would be my thinking of it. But the other bands, no discredit to them. I like Exodus. Still not
100% familiar with their stuff.
Not 100% familiar with their stuff. I don't really care about Anal Cunt, so that's out the door immediately. Gorgoroth, out the door again because I don't know their stuff. I would, if we're talking eras, Dio's a pretty good contender depending on the era.
Yep.
I would definitely say 1985-86 would be a great time to see Dio because that Sacred Heart era, that's when he has the giant fucking dragon on stage and he's swinging the sword and all that kind of goofy BS. Would love to have seen him during that time. Actually, like the Live at Donington albums that he's released around that time are great. Even to his death, he was a great live performer.
Oh yeah.
And it would have been great to see him more in his
younger, spry.
Yeah, I think that would have been fantastic. But it was still great to see him as an older man and him still be spry and a lively frontman, which is key. That's one thing. That could be a whole things I want thing. Frontmen need to be frontmen. There's got to
be some kind of charisma there.
Yeah.
Some kind of energy.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things I particularly like about James Hetfield as a frontman is that not only is he a great player because his right hand is that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But he's also a great frontman. He has a lot of charisma up there. I mean, even after the going, I know that he said that alcohol was his big, unguarding. That's what kind of opened him up to be a frontman. Even after he got sober, he was still a really good frontman.
Yeah.
He had a lot of charisma. He's a big presence. I mean, Big Papa Het. There's a reason he's called that.
Yeah.
He's a big personality.
Yeah.
And the thing is, other frontmen from that era just not as charismatic. Like Dave Mustaine is not that charismatic.
Yeah, on stage he stands there. You
Yeah,
know, and it's kind of.
James Hetfield is a very in your face, and again, I just keep on using the same word, charismatic person on stage. And he's awesome to watch. He's awesome to interact with.
But then you also think of guys like Ozzy Osbourne. Like he's definitely charismatic, but he just kind of stands there.
Well, I mean, there's physical limitations when it comes to him, though.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only so much a guy like that can do.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, going back to our discussion here, we're going back with eras, and I'm still actually, now that I'm thinking about it, kind of leaning again towards Death, only because it was a band in that era on the burgeoning scene of death metal. So it's like the christening of a new genre of music. Yeah. So I might have to lean again back to Death. For that. Because then I was also thinking like seeing the guys from like Mayhem, Bathory, and Gorgoroth would be very cool, because again that's another birth of a genre to see. I just don't know I'm just not as familiar with their stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
That was cool. I like that. That was a good one.
Yeah. So
I think another one that's similar to that one is like you have like the ones that you see. You have like $15 to make a festival, and there's like different bands at different price ranges, which I thought would be a cool one to do.
Yeah, we could probably do that one another time. But next time I want to do the one that we were supposed to do last time.
The 66 top songs from 2019?
From the 2010s.
2010s.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
So we will probably get to that next time. Hopefully we remember to do it.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
You have the list from Pat?
I think he sent it to me. I haven't looked at it because I don't want to look at it.
Cool. Yeah. We want visceral reactions.
Yeah. But we will hopefully do that next time. But in the meantime, we will make our curtain call, because this elf needs to piss badly.
Warrior needs to piss, eat, and work out. So, yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. Not that anyone needed to know that, but hey, here's what I'm going to do after the show. So,
if you feel like stopping by and having a chat.
If you want a behind-the-scenes video of that, you're weird. So until next time, I'm Dan Mack.
And I'm Chris Mack.
And we are The Slime.